Back on Breakfast Television, everyone, and joining me in studio, as promised, Jamie Campbell and Gregg Zaun. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well, listen, okay, it's baseball weekend in Montreal. Hasn't happened in 10 years. Everybody's very excited, but we got to talk about the Jays a little bit, right? I mean, it's all Expos, Expos, Expos. We got to talk about the Jays. They're playing the Mets over the weekend. You guys obviously know everything there is to know about the Jays. So let's talk about. Start with where are they at now? It was a tough season last year. Lots of expectations, and it didn't quite pan out.
Well, I'm the eternal optimist, and he's not.
That's why you guys complete each other so well.
Yes, he completes me. I think I heard that in a movie once. Look, the Blue Jays have a very, very competitive roster. They have a lineup that can hit with anybody in the major leagues. They have a bullpen that is probably as good as any other team in the major leagues. They have some question marks around the rotation, but if all of that comes into play and the pitchers starting games can stay healthy and live up to the expectations and past reputations, there's absolutely no reason, and this might sound ridiculous, why the Jays could not become a playoff contending team. Everything has to go right. I know he'll agree with me on that. Everything has to go right. Last year, everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were talking about this over the break, though. Sometimes it's not a bad thing when it goes so bad that you just start over completely. And now we're in preseason. They're 14-13 now. Yesterday with the win, of course. So what's the look ahead, you think, so far?
Well, the fact that it's pretty well the same roster that they had last year. There's a couple of changes,
right?
But they might actually be better than they were last year personnel-wise. And prior to the season, the Jays were the favorites in Vegas to win it.
Wow! And
so we still have the same group of players that are there. A couple of them, I think, a guy like Colby Rasmus, I think he's ready to take the next step into superstardom. You could get arguably some breakout performances from some guys. I've been saying all along that a guy like Drew Hutchison should go back to the minor leagues for some more seasoning, some more maturity, but he's done nothing during this spring training to warrant getting sent down, so he's making the rotation. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting. So, as Jamie said, good bullpen. That lineup can swing the bats, and I think they're starting to buy in to what the new hitting coach Kevin Seitzer is preaching, which is use the middle of the field guys. We know you have power, but let's be more professional up there when we have a chance to drive in runs. And I think that's the part that should excite everybody. And then, of course, if they can keep Jose Reyes on the field, he's a dynamic player. He's the one guy that makes all of those trades last year the reason why you should be excited about the Jays.
Okay, and you guys as Jays fans, of course, you talk about the Jays all the time. That's how you do. With the spring training happening, where do you see, are you guys happy as fans, where they're standing now and the potential that they have, I guess, for a season like this?
I certainly am. As Greg said, because they haven't changed much from a year ago, I'm really excited to see what Dustin McGowan can do, and he's going to be their quote-unquote fifth starter. And Greg caught him for several years in the major leagues. And Greg can tell you his stuff is as good as anything he ever caught in the major leagues. If the kid can stay healthy, and over the course of his career he's proven that he never has been able to. I mean, as you said to me the other day, that's like adding Roger Clemens at the trade deadline.
It is. It's that good. I mean, he's so electric with his stuff, and I haven't really seen the hitters reacting to him the way that they used to. Obviously, he's coming back from injury. I think he's probably pacing himself a little bit. But when this guy, quote, lets it eat, it's ridiculous. It's the best stuff I ever saw as a player catching. And I caught some great ones. Mike Messina, Kevin Brown in the height of his career. And Dustin McGowan is every bit as talented as these guys. And if he can just stay healthy, if they can pace him out and keep him on the field, if he could get 30 starts for this ball club, he'll win 15 games easily. He's got that kind of ability. And if he has one of those seasons where it all comes together for him, there's a possible Cy Young candidate there.
Wow.
The guy's that good.
Right.
He's that good. He's that
good.
There
could be an argument there.
Well, when ifs and buts are candy and nuts, every day's Christmas. But you know what? This guy is that good.
Hey guys,
now's the time to dream. Everybody's undefeated.
Well, that's right, exactly, right? So let's talk quickly about this weekend. They're playing the Mets, but I feel like that's not the focus. The fact is they're playing in Montreal.
Yeah.
You're an Expos fan as a kid. We were talking over. You've played here in Montreal. What does this mean, you think, for the teams playing and also for the city?
Well, because I'm so old, I remember, honestly, I remember when there was just one team in Canada, and that was the Montreal Expos. My dad, and I grew up in Toronto, my dad would go on business trips and bring me something, Expos cap, a pennant, every time he'd come here on business. And so before the Blue Jays even existed, the Expos were all I knew. So it's an absolute pleasure to know that tonight we're going to see a ton of people in the stands. I've heard they've sold somewhere like 75,000 tickets.
I think for the
weekend.
weekend will be probably around 90,000+ tickets. So definitely,
and honoring
it's
Gary
baseball.
Carter's going to be really fun tonight.
Oh, I know, it's going to be great.
It'll be neat for me too, because I played against some really talented Expo teams, but I've never seen the stands full.
Wow.
So it's going to be exciting for me as a former player, a guy who came here, one of our favorite destinations to go on the road. Very, very, European kind of sexy feel. The whole town. I loved the shopping, loved the restaurants, loved being out in the city. And it was sad when the Expos left.
Well, there's hope now, and there's baseball here this weekend. Greg and Jamie, thank you so much, and you're going to have a great baseball weekend coming up, of course. And now we're going to join Elias.